around so much and running, and it just really dawned on me. It's the man that my mom was underage when she consumed me. Anyone who'd have been older,
15 and 22. Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now I can kind of see why he's probably not claiming it, because it looks bad on his reputation, because he has a history. Like if you look at like even Beyonce, like he was in his 30s and Beyonce was barely 19.
The big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. So trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started.
Rymir Satterthwaite, Jay-Z's purported son, just won another bout after 50 Cent formally pledged to assist him in suing Jay. Additionally, this occurs only a few days after a judge approved Rymir's request to proceed with his case. As for Jay, he's in a panic right now and even made this strange claim that Rymir has been pestering him for years. Now, Jay's attorneys are threatening to reveal Rymir's deceptions in court as well. In other words, Jay is doing everything he can to avoid taking the DNA test that would simply end this problem. It gets dark here, though. We now know that Rhee's mother was rather elderly when she gave birth to Jay, which is the true reason he has been avoiding that test. You see, Rhee claims that when 22-year-old Jay-Z got his mother, Wanda, pregnant, she was not a legal adult. What was her age when you were there? When were you born? 15 on 16, 16, and all of that, claiming to have met. What was Jay-Z's age at the time? About 22, I believe? What exactly is Jay-Z concealing then? As you are all likely aware, Jay narrowly avoided falling out with his pal Diddy after one of Diddy's accusers said that Jay and Diddy had sexually assaulted her when she was 13. Although the woman who made the accusation eventually consented to withdraw the case, it appears that the matter is still ongoing. In fact, she recently came forward and stated that she never recanted her initial charges against Diddy and Jay. She also claims that Jay's alleged use of private investigators to intimidate her was the only reason she dropped the lawsuit. Here's what's truly dubious, though. This new development was mostly ignored by the media. You may go check for yourself. As you are already aware, websites such as TMZ and Shadoom are prohibited from posting any unfavorable information on Jay-Z. Look for the Rhyme story on their websites right now. Nothing will be found for weeks. This has been In Style. However, these prominent celebrity news sources are pretending it doesn't exist. The Jane Doe case follows the same strategy. Not one of them mentioned that Jay-Z's defamation lawsuit against Jane Doe's lawyer, Tony Busby, was dismissed by a judge only last week. In other words, a lot of things are being ignored. Additionally, it seems like most bloggers are too afraid to criticize Jay-Z. However, who isn't afraid? 50 Cent. Jay was recently made fun of by him for evading that DNA test. There are now rumors that 50 actually contacted Rymir and offered to provide his legal team to support his case. Jay is clearly feeling the effects of the heat. His attorneys are already working feverishly to end Rhee's case. They have also started a public relations campaign to portray him as insane. Jay-Z calls a recent lawsuit that Rymir and Lily brought against him the most current in what he claims has been decades of abuse in court filings, filed on June 16th. According to the records, the false accusations and claims have been addressed. But it is really outrageous that Jay is spending so much money on legal proceedings when a simple DNA test would have freed him. Strange. And this time, Rymir is in control. With all the receipts coming out and 50 Cent supporting things don't look good for Jay. I really do, your father. If it is, why can't you prove me wrong? It's not that far as proving me wrong thing. Go to the courtroom and essentially follow the same procedures as everyone else. You don't have to disprove me. For example, all I want is the truth. To be honest, I can accept a no. If at the end of the day, I feel ashamed, I can accept that. I'm not able to. I've seen a lot and experienced a lot. I am able to tolerate my embarrassment. I simply cannot stand it when people remain silent. It's just not fair, you know? Okay, let's start by discussing 50 Cent's involvement in this. In order to become involved in the dispute between Jay-Z and his purported kid Rhyme, 50 initially, made fun of Jay on Instagram by pointing out that Ryer and Jay have a nose. That's not all, though. 50s is reportedly going one step further and has contacted Rymir directly, offering his legal support, according to those familiar with the matter. A good lawyer knows the law. A great lawyer knows the judge. Now, this changes everything. 50s wrote in a mysterious Instagram post. Until now, mainstream media outlets have completely ignored and buried Rymir's case. But now that 50 is involved, Jay's team is suddenly on the defensive, and they're rushing to shut down the lawsuit and discredit Rhyme before anything gains traction. According to documents obtained by US Weekly, Jay recently filed new court documents asking the judge to dismiss Rhy's case, saying that Rymir's lawsuit is just the latest in decades of harassment, and that Rhyme's continued harassment of Jay-Z and disobedient to those orders has already resulted in a contempt order. And she says there are some obvious lies in Jay's most recent court filing. Dr. Kali stated in her statement, "This story was not made up. For years, Wanda's affidavit has been part of the court file and has never been removed." Her account was the basis of Ryer's understanding of his paternity. Dr. Coley also stated that Jay-Z lied about Rhy being held in contempt of court. According to Dr. Coley, no individual involved in the case, including Rymir, his late mother Wanda, or herself, has ever been held in contempt of court. But the main thing she clarified is that the question of Rhy's paternity has never been fully addressed in court. Dr. Coley wrote, "There has never been a discovery paternity or other questions are settled in a hearing or final decision. Public narratives continue to ignore these truths. However, the age of Rymir's late mother, Wanda, during the time of Jay's pregnancy is another detail that is often left out of public accounts." Let's first review some facts. After it was announced in the media that Rhyme had filed a paternity suit against Jay-Z, the public first learned about him in early 2015. Rymir and Lily Coley, his guardian, made their initial complaint back in 2014, and this was the beginning of the strange legal proceedings. Dr. Coley claims that Jay-Z and his attorney, Lisa Fisher, sent misleading and deceptive information to the court, which is why this complaint was immediately dismissed. However, Rymir persisted in his battle and submitted fresh court filings in 2018, accusing Jay, this time of evading a paternity test by using his wealth and notoriety. However, this is the point at which things become dubious. According to reports, the judge was informed that Rymir's biological father had already been verified, which is why he kept getting shut down. However, a copy of Rymir's birth certificate was later given to the son, and you know what? No father is mentioned at all. However, there was a further twist when Rymir learned that some of his own attorneys were surreptitiously collaborating behind the scenes with JC's attorneys. Claimed in an interview with The Sun that he has been denied a fair trial due to malpractice and legal errors. Rymir also revealed to The Sun that when he was around 8 years old, his mother Wanda informed him Jay-Z was his father. Wanda also claims that she and Jay had an affair at his aunt's Brooklyn Projects flat in 1992. She claimed that they tried protection, but it didn't work, and she lost contact with Jay after that. Unfortunately, Wanda's health deteriorated by 2010, at which point Rymir was given to Lily Coley. Speaking to The Sun at the time, Lily also revealed that Wanda became pregnant at the age of 15 or 16 not long after meeting Jay, and it gets wilder still. Rymir filed a lawsuit in Philadelphia in 2018 alleging that while Wanda was in the hospital recuperating from a medicated coma, Jay-Z's lawyer forced her to sign legal documents replacing Lily's name on the petition without her consent and for nefarious purposes. Due to that action, the Philadelphia court dismissed the lawsuit. Andromaya's family claimed to have never seen such suffering or witnessed such a degree of corruption. However, things became even more ominous when Rymir was shot after he filed his lawsuit against Jay-Z. According to Rymir and Dr. Coley's appearance on Hip Hop News Uncensored, somewhere in September, Rymir was shot. He and several folks were at a parking lot close to his current residence, and his car was the only one that shot up out of all the others there, because it was around the time we think there was a relationship or nexus between the case and what's happening. And here's the thing. Lily claims that around the time Reed filed his complaint, strangers began knocking on her home in an attempt to intimidate her into remaining silent. Furthermore, we've had individuals in the past. I drove on the grass to this house of mine at 4 o'clock in the morning. There are individuals hammering on our door. We have experienced everything primarily during the filing period. Lily also mentioned that Jay-Z isn't the only person involved in this case. It's about advocating for reform and new legislation that stops the wealthy and influential from abusing the judicial system. Thus, this is only one aspect of the larger picture. We want to try to change the Pro Se Act or the Legal Abuse Act by introducing new legislation and attempting to have a conversation with the legislators. In addition to the fact that, as you previously stated, Mr. Carter may never take any action, and I'm confident that he won't. But it's not about him. The system is at issue here, In some ways, the system put our lives in danger by permitting events that were widely accepted. That's just another reason why we continued to go to the criminal stuff for the second time. I wanted to add, the local prosecutor's office did become involved this time, but things are happening slowly and you can tell that corruption is at play. According to the law in New Jersey, the person who refuses to take the test is assumed to be the father. In New Jersey, the law states as much it is assumed that the father is the one who refuses to do it and either avoids doing it or stops them from doing it. He is therefore currently assumed to be the father. He isn't even accused. Refiled a new complaint in the interim. This time, against the New Jersey legal system and a number of judges who are accused of working with Jay-Z for more than 10 years to get his cases dismissed. Rymir and Dr. Coley asserted in their action that Jay-Z lied under oath when he claimed he had no property in New Jersey, presumably to give the court the impression that it lacked jurisdiction over him. 2. Disprove it. Rhymes' team discovered tax returns and property deeds under Jay's name. In his complaint, Ree also accuses 6 judges of conspiring with Party Carter and repeatedly making false claims that he was not a New Jersey property owner. Ree's complaint claims that Jay-Z manipulated the legal system by using his riches and power, which resulted in the dismissal or denial of Ree's prior cases. The lawsuit also claims that Rymir's car was shot at by unidentified people after he started talking openly about the abuses he experienced in court. According to the lawsuit, cars pulled into Rymir and Dr. Coley's yard at 4:00 a.m. and they were followed by unidentified individuals in their neighborhood. They stated their strong belief that Jay-Z's team was responsible for these incidents. The judicial system and the participating judges are now being sued by Rymir and Lily, who claim that they have violated their constitutional rights and prevented a young man from receiving the necessary closure. In a recent interview with Tasha K, Rymir and Lily also revealed that Jay-Z was 22 years old when she became pregnant, and Rymir's mother, Wanda, was around 15 or 16, Rymir said, by claiming that the man named on the birth certificate had to be the father. The court first attempted to dismiss the paternity case. However, Rymir's DNA test with that man showed that he wasn't the father. I'm not a lawyer. They make an effort to use everything. It's not how the course operates, Rashu, the Kadas, and all that to say, hey, whoever was on his birth certificate was the dad. You know what I mean? We therefore took all necessary steps to demonstrate to them that that wasn't even my father. I called my dad, and he took the DNA test. It was right there. Jay-Z was the only other name. They essentially just observed it, and they attempted to use all of this madness to support their argument. And I'm thinking, dude, they would have ordered them by now if this had been anyone else. I think in the first 2 years, that's what they do. Yes, ESPIC. Take the test. For example, hell, you can usually begin receiving child support without a goddamn fraternity. They want to come do it because of it. Rymir then made a good argument, stating that the court could have simply dismissed the case with prejudice if they had truly believed he was lying. Additionally, he stated unequivocally that he is not after Jay-Z's wealth. Additionally, he stated that if Jay-Z is not his father, he will issue an apology in public. If there was anything, it's finished. Why are you all prejudiced if you thought we were lying? Why do you guys insist that we come in there, pay all of this money, and keep filing for years on end? Why is the case still pending since none of you saw any issues with it? However, I simply ask that you not give me any money. I'm merely demonstrating to you that I stand up for what I think is right if you don't want to be in that relationship and it turns out to be on you. And I want every child and everybody who follows me to know that if you're missing your parents, sometimes that's all you need to know. Nothing from them is necessary for you. The book was closed. It simply made it easier for me to continue living my life as a straight person. I'm not really searching for anything. I'm hoping you'll take me to where you are or bring me along with your entire family. I have my own family still. However, I would like you to simply consider the possibility that we may have resolved this issue before it happened. You still have my respect. I respect everyone, even if I don't like you. So tell me, what do you think of him now? And it's like, you sit at the top and you forgot where you came from. But that's not even what I mean when I say I don't like you. And there are moments when you have to bring yourself to your lowest point. You can't sit at the top and think, I'm rich and all that, and if I go to court, this would affect this, and sometimes you just have to get it over. If you honestly think this isn't the case, it would have been resolved. And, my mom died after all of this. I'm not referring to you physically, but you're dragging us to court and not solving the issue. You simply allowed it to occur. It seems as though you might have resolved this sooner. I would have apologized if it hadn't been true. You all have to apologize in front of everyone. Hey, you might have done it, but you're obviously hiding something. However, there's another new release, everyone. It appears that Jay-Z may be refusing the DNA test for reasons other than Rymir's mother's advanced age. The true cause might be something far more sinister. According to reports, Jay-Z refuses to provide his DNA in order to disprove Rymir's claim that he is his son, because doing so might implicate him in a number of murders with which he is associated. The perpetual A-list musician could simply give a DNA sample to resolve the paternity issue. But the sample may be used to solve a number of murders in which the rapper has been implicated. Additionally, this supposedly involves Rymir and Jay-Z